Hi boys and girls, today we are going to learn about representing two-digit numbers. This is your lesson for your independent workday. So during this lesson you don't need to write anything on a piece of paper, you don't need to work inside your Math Stepping Stones book, you just need to pay attention to the screen and follow along with the lesson. So first we're going to start off with this page, representing two-digit numbers. Look at these number names, 37, 19, 52. Which number has the most tens? How do you know? We're going to try and figure that out by writing them in their number form, not the word form. So let's do that first. Okay, so our first 37, well, that means we have a 3 in the tens position, so I'm going to write 3. Okay. And 7, we have a 7 in the ones. That's pretty easy. So that's what it looks like. 19, this is a teen number. So you know teen numbers always have a 1 in the tens position. So we're going to start off with 1. And then we're going to do 9 because 19, that means 1 in the tens position, 9 in the ones position. Oops. There we go. That's kind of like a 9. 52. That's telling us we have a 5 in the tens position. And a 2 in the ones position. So that one's pretty easy. Okay? So which number has the most tens? How do you know? So we're not going to look at the ones position. We're just going to look at the tens. So for this one, we have a 3 in the tens position, a 1 in the tens position, and a 5 in the tens position. Okay, so if we look at those, well, we know that the greatest out of all of these is going to be 5. So therefore, we know that 52, that's our biggest number because the 5 is the most out of all the numbers in the tens position. What number is shown on the expander? We have 8 tens, 2 ones. What is the value of each digit in the number? 80 plus 2. So that means just like what the book said, I'll zoom it in a little bit. 8 tens, that means 8 group of tens, so we have 8 in the tens position, and we have 2 ones. So that's how we get that 80 plus 2. And down here it says there are 8 groups of tens, that's 80. There are 2 groups of ones, that's 2. I could write the number in expanded form as 80 plus 2. I'm also going to show it written in their number form. It'd just be 80 and 2. So that's the way that we've been practicing it a lot. So this number here, 80 plus 2 equals 82. Now let's look at this practice. It says color tens and ones to match each number name. So first for A, I have 47. So just like what we did on the first page, I'm going to draw this out into its number form. So we have 4 in the tens position, 4, and we have a 7 in the ones position. So that's what that number looks like. Alright, so since I have a 4 in the tens position, we know with tens, just like in our notes from last week, if we have a number in the tens position, we're going to use rods, okay? So I'm going to color in, I'm going to figure out for the rods, I have a 4 in the tens position, so I'm going to color in 4 rods. So 1, oh, pretend like that's pretty, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, let's do this a little bit darker over this 4 so you can kind of see 4. Alright, So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rods that are colored in, and 7. So we're going to go, since we have a 7 in the ones, we know for ones we always use our units. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay? So that's how we represent with our rods and our units 47. Now let's try for 62. Again, so we see 62, that means I have a 6 in the tens position and a 2 in the ones position. Okay? So we're going to think, how many rods do we color in and how many units do we color in? Pause the video while you think about that. So if you said, we color in 6 rods, you are correct. So right here, I have a 6 in the tens position. Tens uses rods. So I colored in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Nothing for the 2. I have a 2 in the ones position. My ones, I always use units. So how many units am I going to color in? Pause the video and think. If you said we would color in 2 units, you are correct. We have a 2 in the ones position. We're going to color in just 2 units. Now we're going to try C, 17, and D, 26. We are going to do these together. So, on a piece of paper, I want you just to write the number 17, and we're going to do just letter C. Let's focus just on letter C first. You're just going to write the number 17, and then you're going to draw in how many rods and how many units. So I'm going to show on my screen, and you can follow along on your paper. Okay, so this is a we do practice together. So for letter C, I know I have 17. I'm going to draw it right here. So my letter is 1, 7. Okay? And I know that's my number because 17, we say that's a teen number. So teen numbers always have a 1 in the tens position. And of course, 7, that gives us the clue that we have a 7 in the ones position. So write the number 17 on your paper. After you write 17 on your paper, let's focus first on writing how many rods. So I'm going to switch to this one. We do a circle. This is our tens position. So think about how we represent our tens position. Are you going to use rods or are we going to use units? Think about that. If you said rods, very good job. So this is telling us we are going to use rods since it's in the tens position. But how many rods are we going to do? Well, we had a 4 in the tens position. We colored in 4 rods. A 6 in the tens position and colored in 6 rods. We have a 1 in the tens position, so that means we're just going to draw 1 rod. So, on your paper, make sure to draw your rod, which is that skinny triangle, and then 9 lines to make sure that there are 10 little boxes. So pause the video and go ahead and draw your 1 rod. So I drew 1 rod here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 little squares. So I drew 9 lines. It's a little hard on my computer. But you should draw only 1 rod because we have a 1 in the tens position. Now let's think about the 7. That's in our ones position. So let's think, are we going to use rods or units for our ones? If you said units, you're correct. We're going to draw our units. So think about how many units are we going to draw? What number do we have here? Let's think about that. Because on this one, on letter A, we had 7. In the ones position, we drew 7 cubes. We had a 2 on letter B. In the ones position, we colored in 2. So on your paper, I want you to draw how many units we have to represent that 7. If you drew 7 units, you're correct. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this is how we represent 17. So let's think on our letter C right here. Let's think of how we're going to color that in. So in the book, this is what the example looks like for letter C. 17, we colored in 1 rod and 7 units. Now, let's do 26. I'm going to give you time to do it on your own, so go ahead and pause the video. And then when you are finished doing letter D on your own, continue the video to see what the answer is. So this is what your answer should look like. I have a 2 in the tens position and a 6 in the ones position. So my 2 means I have 2 rods, since I have a 2 in the tens position, so that's my 2 rods that I drew. I have a 6 in the ones, that means I'm going to draw 6 units to represent my ones. So this is what your answer should look like. Now if we go back, we're going to color in exactly as what we drew. So we would color in the first 2 rods, and then 6 of our units right here. Okay, so this will help you with your independent practice. All of the information for your independent practice and what you need to submit is on Google Classroom. So make sure to read all the instructions very carefully in Google Classroom. If you have any questions on this lesson, you can always rewatch this video, or I'll be available to answer questions tomorrow. Okay? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.